Welcome to the broadcast. My name is John Mayfield. Thanks so much for joining. I'm going to allow folks to log in. We have a large crowd today, so that's exciting. In excess of 300 attendees, so thank you so much. Hopefully we will have some numbers very close to that, but very good sign up, and I'm excited to share with you some information today. First of all, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Zoom meetings. If you can hear me okay, if you will raise your virtual hand, I'll know that I'm broadcasting loud and clear. Thank you, Rob and Krista. Thank you so much for that. All right. Well, while folks are logging in, I will tell you a little bit about myself and give you a couple of quick disclaimers. Number one, first and foremost, please know I'm not here to sell anything, okay? So I just want to give back to my realtor family. I actually had put a post on the National Association of Realtors hub several weeks ago when the coronavirus first started really appearing and we were having some shutdowns, and just wanted to offer my ability to do some virtual training for associations around the US, and immediately my email blew up, and so I've been doing webinars now for the last few weeks, 3 and 4 times a day. And I've met your director of education. She's a wonderful lady, and she reached out to me, and so we set this up to do the webinar. So please know I'm not here to sell anything, and I'm not in any way going to harvest your email address or contact you. I want you to know this is just strictly from me as a colleague, as a realtor colleague, sharing some things that I'm doing and have done for many years as a real estate professional. So third thing I'll mention is it is technology. And I want you to know, if for some strange reason I disappear, don't go anywhere. I'll come right back. We are having some storms that are moving through my area. And of course, the internet's kind of overcrowded at times. So lots of meetings going on everywhere. But if for some reason I were to disappear, if you'll just stay right where you're at, I have a backup solution, and I can go to my hotspot on my phone, and I'll be right back into the webinar. Okay. So just wanted to give those disclaimers to you. So I think we're ready to get started, and I'm going to show I'm going to actually share my PowerPoint. This will be very interactive, so I'm not just going to go through PowerPoint slides. I will also be going out and showing you some how-to situations and ways that I use my tools. So this title is a little different than the title you had, but I'm going to talk about the same content, so don't worry about that. And from time to time, I may just take my camera off so you can focus on the PowerPoint slides. But I do want you to know I am a real estate broker. I'm in the trenches just like you, okay? I, list and sell real estate. I also run an online real estate school in 5 different states around the United States. And I do a lot of teaching and training, and I work all over the world with real estate associations and companies. And I talk about technology and marketing. That's kind of my wheelhouse. So I know a lot of us are probably saying, help, it's a weird time that's going on, and will life ever get back to normal? I was at the grocery store last night, and an elderly lady who should have been at home, I felt like, but she's there working at the grocery store, checking out. And we both had the conversation. I said, I'm ready for things to get back to normal. And she said, do you think they'll ever get back to normal? And I said, I think they will. I do. I'm an optimistic person. And, in my own life, it was April 7th, 2007, that I had a really weird thing happen to me. Now, I got my real estate license in 1978 at the age of 18. Some of you are trying to figure out how old I am. I am not 60 yet. I will be next month, but I'm still 59. Even though I went through the drive-through this week, and the lady goes, "Are you a senior?" And my dad was John Mayfield, and I thought, does she know me? And she goes, do you get a senior discount? And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to hear that. But I did get a senior discount because you only have to be 55. But I've had my license for a long time. And in 2006, I'd had my license for 28 years, and I was really burned out. Just needed a change of pace. And so my wife and I bought a pick your own blueberry blackberry farm. And I actually was hired by a bank. They actually brought a buyer for my real estate office, and they wanted me to go to work for the bank. They were going to put a bank in Farmington, Missouri, where I live. And my wife and I were just like, this is the dream come true. We have this beautiful farm. People come from all over to pick blueberries and blackberries. We live on 90 acres on top of this big hill. And I'm going to work for the bank where I get holidays off and a regular paycheck. And it was just going to be an exciting time for us. And then April 7th, 2007 came, and my life was literally turned upside down. I mean, a lot like what's going on today. And really, on April 7th, 2007, I wanted to quit. But I knew I couldn't quit. I mean, I had a family to take care of, and I had bills to pay. And, you know, even though my bank, I mean, people left and right were telling me after this ordeal happened, just file bankruptcy, John, just file bankruptcy. And I didn't want to do that. I understand there are people out there watching today. I understand bankruptcy is a very needed thing for many situations. But at that time in my life, I just wanted to try to work my way out of it. And so I'll be honest with you, I didn't know which way to go. I'd sold my real estate office, so I'd signed a non-compete clause for 2 years. I'd gone to work for this bank, and lo and behold, they didn't tell me they were on this thing called the watch list. So I go to work, and the bank examiners are there, kind of like what we go through with a real estate commission when they audit our files, right? It's maybe not that bad, but it was pretty bleak. And by the end of the day, people were fired. The bank told me, those folks who were left said, John, we can't put a bank in Farmington, and they really didn't need my services anymore. And now I'm unemployed with a non-compete clause. The only thing I'd ever done since I was 18 years of age in Farmington, Missouri. And I had to basically start over. I'm over $1 million in debt with this new home and the farm. So I did pick myself up off the ground and get back into the game. And so I knew if I wanted to move forward, I knew I had to do some different things. I always tell my real estate agents, if you want to get to the next level, you can't keep doing the same old things. You have to add some new stuff to your business plan. And if we continue to do the same old stuff and have the same old thinking, we're going to have the same old results. And I'm telling you that now because our industry is going to change. Now, I'm not saying it will never get back to some normalcy, but I'm telling you, I don't think it will be the same as it was pre-coronavirus. So I knew back in 2007, I had to do some different things. And I knew there would be a lot of heartache and there would be a lot of disappointment and unhappiness. But if I persevered and I worked hard, I knew that I could make things happen. And more importantly, and this was probably the most exciting thing back then, even though in the midst of the storm, when I look back, I had the chance to recreate myself, to start over. You know, a lot of us are going to have the chance to recreate ourselves right now and to start over. And if we think about that and we think about how our business model is going to change moving forward, we can make things happen. I know we can. So let's go back to 2007. I'm unemployed. I'm over $1 million in debt. I have a non-compete clause. The only thing I have are these blueberries that are supposed to come in shortly. And I have to basically try to figure out how to come up with X number of dollars just to break even every month. So I'm a tech guy. And I thought, you know what? I need to really push technology to the level, to the envelope as a real estate professional who's now going to have to relocate 60 miles away to sell real estate, drive back and forth, and to do some very creative things. So I want you to walk with me on some ideas and things that I'm doing right now and that you can do to grow your real estate business, and some ways you can work smarter and save some time, and some innovative marketing ideas. So let's talk about video. I mean, I know some of you are getting probably tired of hearing about video, but you know what? It's going to be a normal part of our business. Video is going to be huge. And let's specifically look at YouTube. Do you know that if you have a Google account, any one of Google's vast number of products, if you've ever signed up for a Google Photos, or you have an Android device, or you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube channel. You just have to activate it. But did you also know when you have a YouTube channel, you can also broadcast live on TV? Now, I think for real estate professionals, and pardon me if anyone sells Amway, okay? I love their products. I think they have great products, but at one time and earlier in my career, I had a friend of mine who was doing very well with Amway, and yes, I sold Amway, and like most of us know, a lot of these multi-level marketing solutions, if you can get in on the ground floor, is the best time to get in, right? I'm telling you what, broadcasting live on YouTube is like getting in on the ground floor. Now, I'm speaking at an international conference in Florida not long ago, Sarasota, Florida. I finished my presentation, and this lady comes up to me afterwards, and she says, "John, I have the perfect person for you." Well, I'm looking at her a little odd, and I'm like, "Well, thank you, but I'm married." And she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I mean, I have to introduce you to somebody." And so, I'm like, well, okay. And so she introduces me through email to the general manager of the ABC affiliate on the Gulf side of Florida, largest ABC affiliate on that side of the Florida coast. And he invites my wife and I to come down to Florida. He wants to meet me. We fly down to Florida. I go to the television station. It's a huge facility with all of these network people and lights. And I mean, it's a full-fledged television station. And he and I are walking through the facility, and he grabs me by the arm and he says, "John, look around here." Well, I'm looking around and I see monitors, and it's a TV studio. He said to me, "John, I have millions of dollars invested in this television station. You can do this from your own living room." Now, he shared with me the danger report for television stations. We have the danger report for realtors by Stefan Swanepoel. Here's the danger report for television stations. Young people aren't subscribing to cable. His viewership is exiting by the masses. And so he's trying to figure out how he can stream content so that he can still sell advertising. And he shares with me how big streaming is. And while I'm sitting there in his office talking to him, I'm thinking, I have two daughters that are in their early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. Neither one of them have cable TV. My wife and I work from home. We have a family room next door to my office here. And we stream most of the stuff we watch. We still have cable. It was kind of like the telephone. I hated to give it up, but streaming is getting more and more popular. So think about having your own television channel. Well, I use an app called Switcher Studio. It's an amazing application, and it runs on iOS, which is for Apple devices. I'm pretty sure there are some solutions for Android as well. But with Switcher Studio, right over here across from my desk, I have a backdrop, and I have an older iPad that's on a stand, and I have cameras, and guess what? I can broadcast live to Facebook and YouTube right from my basement. So I told you I have an online real estate school. Well, here it is where I broadcast and stream weekly to the students. In fact, right now during the coronavirus, I'm streaming almost every day for my students. I'll be streaming in just a little bit, but let me show you. I told you I wanted this to be kind of very interactive. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to show you my computer, pardon me, I'm going to show you and you should be seeing my screen now. I'm going to show you my real estate channel. So if you go to Help Me Pass the Real Estate Exam, so I'm going to go up here and double click this. I bought a brand new keyboard, and it's one of these ergonomic keyboards. It's all split because I do so much typing. So bear with me. But I want you to take note of something here. We went to helpmepasstherealestateexam.com, and we ended up on my YouTube channel with my live stream feed. In other words, I don't have to tell somebody to go to this great big old long gobbledygook web address. I just want you to go out here to, you could just go out here to Godaddy, and from Godaddy, find a unique domain name. Here's one I did last week when I was broadcasting for the Miami Realtors, called miamihomevideos.com. That was actually available when I was on the webinar, and somebody bought it right after that. So if they sell that for thousands of dollars, I'm gonna be upset. But find a unique, Boston real estate home tours or Boston video home tours.com. Find something that's unique for your marketplace, and then use that to broadcast and to put that in your email signature and to tell people this is how you can go to my live television channel. Now, I also do live streaming from another website called Business Tech Guy TV. I do this on Friday mornings at 11 a.m. Central Time, so this would be noon your time. There is no charge. I am not selling anything. And basically what we're doing is we're doing a deeper dive into the applications that I will be sharing with you here. So if you go to the website, you can always just subscribe and come back later, but you'll see that any of the apps I'm talking about today, plus many more, they'll all be right here in these videos. And again, I don't sell anything. I'm not trying to make any money. I'm just trying to give back. But I wanted you to see how you can take a domain name for $11 or $12 and then point it or forward it to your television station. Now, something else I've been doing, which and I just want to kind of show you this because we send so many emails out every day. And I had kind of made my own little email signature up, and it was okay. There was nothing wrong with that. But I've used this company before, and they actually have a really good price break right now for the coronavirus. But I want you to see, you can have multiple signatures. So here's one for my global real estate school right here. So I'm going to make this a little bigger so you can see it there. Now, if we come over here, this is my Global Real Estate School signature. Look at this. I have a link that I'm able to put to my website, but I can also embed my YouTube channel right there, or a link to my YouTube channel. So you can have multiple signatures. Here is, I have a license in Florida, and I do some work in Florida. So here's my Florida broker's license, which is branded for my real estate. And, you know, I'm all about virtual presentations with my clients in Florida because I don't live in Florida. I go back and forth. So if they need to set up a virtual presentation or a virtual meeting, they can do that right there, and they can go right to my website as well. You can see that I have one for my real estate people in Farmington here. I have a totally different signature that's branded for that. So just think about how you can take your own television channel and use YouTube and point everything by using a free domain name. Now, one of the things I want to point out here is that this is free. This doesn't cost you anything. You can actually stream live on YouTube without Switcher Studio. Switcher Studio just makes it so much more interesting. One of the reasons I like Switcher Studio is because I can actually put my logo, I can have descriptions of the property. I'm getting ready to do a virtual open house on one of my listings, and I'll be doing it from Switcher Studio. I did a Zoom meeting with my client, and we recorded the Zoom meeting. So I let my client, as we went through the house with the pictures, I let my client talk about his home and what he loved about it, what he was going to miss. And so when I finished the recording with him, I edited out the front and back. When I go into Switcher Studio to talk about my farm listing, all I have to do, because I'll have that video preloaded, is just like at a television station, I'll run the video, and it's just like running a commercial. But you got to stretch your minds a little bit. You know, why just use YouTube to upload videos? Why not do a market report of what's going on? Why not have your own weekly show about your new listings and doing virtual showings, interviewing loan officers? We've got to start doing some things differently. If we keep doing the same stuff over and over, what did I tell you would happen? It's the definition for insanity. You've got to do something different if you want different results. So I love Switcher Studio. It has been a great tool for me, and I broadcast live for my real estate school, and I do lots of other broadcasting as well. Now, find your passion. That's the easiest way to do video. Because if you're uncomfortable talking about houses or real estate, I get it. But you know what? There's something you have a passion for. There's something you're really good at. And I don't know if it's canning pickles or if it's fishing or what it is. You have a passion for something, and you need to turn that passion into something that you can begin promoting and building your brand on. I have some folks down in Arkansas, and I remember telling them about, you know, finding your passion. And they started doing videos helping people discover the best places to fly fish in Arkansas, because that's where they're from. And they tied that in with their real estate company, and it has been an amazing thing for them. But what I want you to understand is you can do video. You just might have to take it into a direction of something that you like. YouTube is the second largest website for searches. So why not help people? Maybe you're a good handy person. Maybe you're good in the kitchen. Whatever it is, use your passion and then tie it back into real estate. And I just wanted to show you a few videos or pictures, because this is from our previous home. Um, and we're in a different home today, but I just recreated a studio down in my basement. And the reason I did this is that I can quickly go live. I can quickly do videos and put content out there. So think about how you can use video. Now, I want to give you another really cool tip for your mobile phone. YouTube has an app. I've been using this back when I was on the farm. By the way, I was on YouTube back before Google purchased YouTube. I was on LinkedIn in the earliest days. That my LinkedIn profile is linkedin.com/John Mayfield. I have the same handle for Twitter. I've just been a tech guy, the latter part of my life when computers came out. But I've been using their app, YouTube's app, for years in my real estate business. And it's free. And do you know, when you open the app up, most people are just watching videos, but up in the top right corner, there's actually a little camera. Looks like a video camera. And when you click on the video camera, guess what? You can record videos. You can even go live. Now, you do have to have 1,000 subscribers to go live, but I know you're going to have a great television channel, and you're going to be able to get lots of subscribers. I'm telling you what, I really believe this is the ground floor for you and I as real estate professionals. Just mark my words, okay? Because my wife and I sit in here in our family room with our smart TV, and I'm downloading apps all the time and watching different programs that people are creating, cooking shows and different programs. As real estate professionals, we're going to have our app on smart TVs. You may as well start producing and getting the content ready now. So here is an app, the YouTube app, and I've been using this to broadcast new listings that I have. But you know what else I've used it for? A video email service. Now, today, because my school has grown, I've been very blessed in that respect. I use a video email platform called BombBomb. Many of you probably know that. Prior to my school growing, I couldn't afford BombBomb, or at least I didn't want that extra expense. Well, guess what I would do? If I had a client, whether I was texting them back or emailing them, and it was a complicated message, or for my students who needed me to answer a question, I just pulled my phone out, hit the record button, or hit the camera, select record, and I would record a message, upload it to YouTube. And here's the key: I would mark it unlisted so that no one else could see it, get the link, and then say, Tom or Mary, here's an answer to your question. Thanks for your email. And then I would paste that link and email them the text message or email. And guess what? All they had to do is click on the link. It would take them to YouTube. They'd watch the video. And I got so much positive feedback from that. And again, that's free. It doesn't cost you anything. But I'm telling you, TV's where it's at. IGTV, which is part of Instagram, is growing by leaps and bounds. It's one of those areas I need to be better at. So we need to think about how can we, or what are some ideas that we can use for doing television or broadcasting live, or even recording videos for some of our listings. This is a little, this is kind of pricey, but I just want to tell you about it. It's interesting. It's called Swivel. The Swivel mounts on a tripod, any tripod that you have, and you put your phone inside the swivel dock, and then Swivel comes with a little remote. Well, guess what? The remote has infrared, so wherever I walk in the room, Swivel follows me. It's like having a robotic camera person that all you have to do is put this robot on the tripod, and it'll follow you around the room. So I could go to one of my listings and actually talk about the property, walk around the room, point out certain things, and Swivel's going to follow me wherever I go. It's great for teaching because I can get up from my chair and the camera's pointed there, and it'll move right over to the whiteboard where I'm drawing on the whiteboard. The other neat thing about Swivel is the remote has a microphone, so it's recording really good quality audio. So we just need to think about, how are we going to present properties in the future? We need to come up with some alternative solutions and ways we can do that. Now, I want to go back out here because I want to show you a couple of really cool things. And these are, some of these are free. So I need to come to this screen right here. And a while ago, I know some of you saw I had Zillow up on here, and some of you, I heard some boos and hisses, okay? And many of you probably know about this, but I just want to remind you that as agents, we have this thing called Agent Hub at Zillow. And believe it or not, Zillow has provided us with a free app. And again, I know, I apologize, this is only for the iPhone, but I'm going to show you an alternative solution. But notice now what I can do with this. I can take photographs with my phone and Zillow's free app, and I can create digital 360 cameras, photographs, I should say. Now, we're using Zoom right now, but notice I could take, and this is the farm that I did the virtual tour with my client, and we actually did this while he talked about it, and then I showed some other photographs, and we kind of went around the farm on some various pictures that we had. But this is a free solution. Now, if you don't have an iPhone and you're thinking, well, how could I do this a little easier? If you have a Ricoh 360 camera, and I believe it is this one right here, you can actually take, and I know it seems a little pricey, but it can save you a lot of time. Now, I'm going to give you a hack here, okay? So if you don't want to spend $400 and you have an iPhone. And here's the other thing. If you're an Android user and you see some of these programs, you know, you can buy an iPhone 7, which has great camera abilities. On Craigslist, or a lot of Facebook areas have buy, sell, and trade. Just buy an older iPhone for $100 or $150, maybe even less than that, and just use it for something like Zillow. So what you do with Zillow, you open the app up and you actually just move around. You actually just move around, and Zillow's app records that information and then uploads it to Zillow, and you actually then go to the next area and you create this just like you were creating for Matterport. And so the consumer can actually like walk right through the property, look at the view of the house. If they ever want to jump and go back to the kitchen to look at it again, everything's over on the side. And here's what's really neat about this. And we're going to kind of cover a couple of birds with one stone here, okay? A couple of items here. Here's what's really neat about this. So if I go to my 3D tour and I go right here, notice I can share the tour. So if I want to, of course, share it on any of my social media platforms, I can, or I can copy the link here, but I can also embed the link. In other words, if I copy this piece here, I can actually embed this right into my website or any place else that I want to put that. And if you're saying, how do you embed something like that, John? I talk about those things on my Friday morning classes. We walk through those very slowly, but you can always find a 14 or a 15-year-old kid. They could do this in no time for you, okay? But here's how I'm leveraging things like this and using this. And I want to give you another tool that's free. We're going to kind of jump out here to this now. And it's called Linktree. I don't know if you've heard about Linktree or not, but Linktree is a really interesting application, and they have a free version, which is really cool. So here's my Linktree right here. If we clicked on my Linktree profile, notice I have some buttons that I can direct you to. One of those buttons is check out my new farm listing. Now, when you click on that, guess where it takes you? Right to Zillow. See that? Now, why is this important? Because what I'm actually doing here is when I'm doing social media posts, sometimes it's hard to tell them where to go to find the information. And the other reason you want to use Linktree is that people are nosy, okay? When I teach a social media class, sometimes I'll say, have you ever seen somebody that's done something wrong in the newspaper or on the television news, and you've gone to Facebook and looked up to see if you could find their profile? I'm telling you what, the hands will go up in the classes. I mean, 80, 90% of the people are just stalking us. They want to stalk you. In fact, the number one website most individuals, or pardon me, the number one page on your website that most people go to is your About Us page. So let's take a look at this on how I'm using Linktree and tying this all together. If you go to Instagram, so we're going to go out here to Instagram right here. And you're going to notice that when we go to Instagram, you cannot post anything. However, if you go up to View, Developer, and Developer Tools, did you know you get a different view? Now, I still can't post anything. The plus button's not there. Just refresh this page and watch what happens. Now I can post from there. So I can go find a picture on my computer and post this. If you're reading my post, for example, if we wanted to stalk my friend Darren Kittleson right here, I'm going to go up here to Coach Kittleson, and we'll just see what Darren has. So here's Darren right here. Now, the only link you're allowed within Instagram is one link. And so Darren just sends us to his website. Well, if Darren's saying, check out my new farm listing, and we just go to his website, we don't know where it's at on the website, do we? And if we get tired, people just don't like to look around on websites that much. So guess what they do? Boom, they go off to another spot. Let's go down to my profile. And last night, I posted some information about a CE class I'm offering. In Missouri, we can offer CE via webinar format. So I'm doing this webinar format CE that starts next Monday. And if you read the information right here, it says, go to sign up, go to my Linktree profile. Well, if you come up to my profile and you say, well, there's the Linktree thing John was talking about, and you click on that, guess what the first link is? Webinar Continuing Education. And when you click on that, it takes you right to my website where you can sign up. I posted that last night. People have been signing up for the class last night, this morning. But see how I'm using my social media to really direct people to where I want them to go. When I post about my farm listing, I can send them right to the farm property. If I'm wanting them to go to my Friday morning technology training, if you can't remember, what did John say about his free technology training? Just find me on Instagram, Real Estate Tech Guy, click on technology training, and it'll take you right to that site, my television channel, right? And then finally, I have other things, my podcast. See, I'm posting those things in social media. Well, I need to get traction. I want to send people there. Well, guess what? I'm even using my LinkedIn profile. So if I'm posting this stuff in LinkedIn, you can go right to my LinkedIn profile and there's the link tree. So you really need to check out Linktree. It's free. There is an upgraded package for $6 a month, which I pay for because I like it. But I use the free version for a long time. But I use things that are free, and if I find that I'm getting some good use out of those, then hey, I'm going to be all in for it. So it's Linktree. It's really an interesting application. I encourage you to check it out. Now, I want to show you something else while I'm on LinkedIn, because part of this seminar is to give you some time-saving tools. And one of my favorite tools, one of my all-time favorite tools, I use it every single day, daily, okay? It's called Text Expander. So it's TEXTEXPANDER. And if you find yourself, so I'm going to go to View, Developer Tools to turn that off, okay? But if you find yourself typing something over and over and over again, you type it one time in Text Expander, you give it a shortcut, a secret code, and Text Expander will drop that text right into whatever browser window you're in or Word document or whatever you're in. It's going to put that information inside the document. So think about it. You're typing a letter, an email, and maybe you have this standard thing you say at the end, like the last paragraph. I always say to my clients, as always, thank you for allowing Mayfield Real Estate the opportunity to be of service to you with your real estate needs. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or need help. Enter best regards, comma, enter John D. Mayfield. I just type it one time in Text Expander and give it the, a code for that closing. Text Expander does the work. So let me show you how I'm using this. Couple of different solutions. And I'm going to go, I'm going to open Text Expander up. And so I'm going to go back to my LinkedIn. And I'm going to just go up to my network. And here is a lady that just connected with me. She's with Keller Williams from the Philippines, but maybe we'll see. I want to make sure. So here is John Clark. And I know Mark Leswing and 58 others. So I'm going to click accept to John's request. Now I'm going to select message John. And I'm going to type in John. And all I have to type is LK2. Now, I hope you could still see that. That's in the same window. Zoom sometimes does some weird things. But if you cannot see it for some reason, what I want you to know is my Zoom or my LinkedIn message immediately dropped in there. And now I am able to send this to John. And I need to, let's see. I may have my screen a little bit. There we go. I've got Windows open, but anyway, I just sent that to John, okay? So I have a couple of text expander messages. You know, another example, I was showing you my YouTube videos, but when I post a YouTube video, I always just add the hashtags, or let's just go to Instagram, and I will show you that just so you can kind of get an idea of the power of this. Again, you go to View, Developer Tools, and then you refresh your page. And I'm just going to post a very quick my CE class that I did last week, and I'm going to show you a little trick here. So we're going to go next, and I'm just going to like type some text. So I would type my text here. And then, you know, we have to put the hashtags with Instagram. I have a text expander snippet. So I do HT1. And look, text expander put all of my tags for my real estate school. Now, there's one other shortcut you want to do. You want to go to Advanced Settings, and you want to select Write Alt Text. And you want to describe what you just typed on the previous screen. Or basically what I do is copy what I put on the previous screen and paste it here. So I would go back over here, and I would just do Control A to copy all of that. And then I would hit Advanced Settings, Write Alt Text, and here I would paste that. Save it, and I would come back here, and now I'm ready to share. Now, I'm not going to share this because I shared it last night, but let me walk you through a couple of these things. First of all, did you see how easy it was for me to put the hashtags into the Instagram post using Text Expander? Now, why are hashtags important? Young kids today search those hashtags. People search those hashtags. I'm telling you what, I use those hashtags in my real estate business and my real estate school, and it's huge for me. It's just a big deal. And it's hard for me to remember because I'm like one of those old social media guys that we never used the hashtags, okay? But it's important that you use the hashtags, and you should pick out hashtags that sometimes for my real estate school, they're the same kind of hashtags. Get your real estate license, real estate school, help me pass the real estate exam, global real estate school. And so I'm using those same hashtags. Well, Text Expander allows me to drop those in very quick. The other thing we did there was we clicked on Advanced Settings, and we hit Write Alt Text. Why did we do that? Because Instagram's algorithm likes that. You see, Instagram is a visually driven social media website. Alternative tags or alt tags help vision impaired folks be able to know what's going on. They can, a screen reader will read that to them. But more importantly, alt text helps search engines boost your page, and the algorithm for Instagram likes alt text, and you're going to get more viewers, and your post may be seen by more people if you're using alt text. So again, I just want to show you some shortcuts that Text Expander, I'm telling you what, I use it for prospecting. I use it in my YouTube videos because we want to add text and I want to drive people back to my websites and to my social media sites. Well, I don't want to have to type that stuff all the time. And it's good for us when someone connects with us on LinkedIn, maybe reach back out and say, thanks for connecting with me. Here's how here's my specialties. Here's what I do. And so Text Expander is going to save you a lot of time. Now, one more thing with Text Expander. I'm a creative speller, okay? I love this program, and I make no money off any of these programs, but it's called Grammarly, and Grammarly will check for grammatical errors and really will help you immensely with your writing capabilities. But both Text Expander and Grammarly work on your phone. So when I set up some of these snippets, they're called snippets for Text Expander. If you have a property that you have listed and you have a virtual tour, or you want to send them to the 3D tour at Zillow that you just created, you can create the snippet in Text Expander with the links, give it that secret code. When you're out in the field, somebody calls you or you get a text or an email that says, hey, we saw your new listing on such and such street. Can we get more information? All you have to do is go right into the email or the text, open up the Text Expander keyboard, and then you just put in the secret code, and guess what? You can hit send, and your text message, Facebook message, or email will give the person on the other end a kind note from you saying, here's a link to my 3D 360 tour or virtual tour, and whatever else you want to say. It's an amazing tool, and I'm telling you what, I use these tools all the time, and I actually, that's another thing I'm helping with on Fridays is how do you work the keyboard on your phone when you're doing that? We've done a couple of those as well. But Grammarly, Text Expander, you're going to find those tools to be simply very, very useful for you. Now, I know we have some questions, and I promise you I'll get to those at the end, so don't panic. I can stick around and help out with any of those. But I just wanted you to be aware that, we've got to learn some of these new tools and ways to do business. Now, I was at a conference, and there was a gentleman there who works for Facebook, and he said, do you want to know what the secret is to getting more views to your videos? My daughter and I were curious. He said, you add subtitles. Well, Apple Clips is a little software program that when you record video, it is actually adding subtitles to your video. Now, there are other programs like iSkySoft, and they were just sold this last week, I noticed, but iSkySoft allows you to take your video or any video off of YouTube, and you can run it back through these, and it'll put subtitles. It's very interesting. There's an app called Capwing. It's a free online video editor, but Capwing will reformat your video so it'll fit on IGTV or Instagram, and it too puts subtitles. So again, don't forget about the advanced settings, alt text, write that alt text because Google really likes it. Now, we're talking about all of this because, Zoom's a big deal. It's free. That's what we're using now. I participated in my first NAR December legislative meeting earlier today as a part of the Global Alliance Committee. But here's a meeting I had with some people all over the world a few weeks ago. There were 65 of us online. But people are learning how to use technology. My sister does a little Bible study, and she was so disappointed because they closed the coffee shop down. And I said, Linda, you can use Zoom. And they love it, and they're having such a great time doing their study on Zoom. But you know what? You and I are going to have to learn to present properties in a different fashion. And there are lots of solutions out there. So I just want you to think about, now that we're in this connected world, we need to learn how to use the 360 cameras, and we need to learn how to take our photographs we're paying a professional photographer to take and put those together so that we can now start connecting with people, pushing that out on social media. And then when you do hold a virtual open house, now on social media that you can just send people to your link tree, there's my free version, and they can go right to your property. But you could take Linktree to a whole different level. If you're giving out free stuff or reports, here's a way where you can actually capture leads and send them right to a landing page. They give you the information. Now you can communicate with this person because why? You captured their lead. And that's what the internet's all about. You've got to have the right bait if you want to fish on the internet. There are 100 billion searches every month. 7.5 million searches by the time I make this statement on Google. Probably more than that with all of us at home. But we're in this connected world, and you know, people are searching and people need help. They really do. We might think our world's disrupted now, but what do you think the folks thought back with the horse and buggy and the automobile came about? You know, we're just in a disrupted world. And we have to think about, how can I leverage social media and some of these new tools to really push my business into this new virtual society that we're going to be in for a while? You've got to have a strategy, and you have to be different. You got to be a red leather chair. You got to look comfortable out there and somebody they want to do business with. And so I'm using programs like remove.bg, where I remove the background, and then I can take those photographs and I can put those into some interesting graphics to put on social media. I use Canva, which is free. It's like having your own graphic artist, and I can upload those photographs. And then this is a website that I absolutely love called placeit.net, and just some amazing things you can do. And if you don't like any of that, you know what? You can go to Fiverr and hire a freelancer. Here's a freelance graphic I had made on Fiverr for $15. So, you know, think about how you can be different. I love Flip Builder. It's this really amazing tool where you can create digital magazines. And I'd love to show you, and I will, how I leverage, and I'm telling you what, this tool right here has gotten me more listings. And so I want to just show you very quickly one of the things I created recently on the website and on Fridays. But if you go, let's just go back out to Linktree, and I may already have that up. Here we go. Now, I don't think the neat thing about Linktree is that you can move things in and out. So I'm going to go back to Linktree very quickly, just so you can see the admin side of this. I think this is the let's see. We'll just go right here. Okay, so this should log me in. Now, I can take things on and off of Linktree, okay? So I'm going to leave my farm listing up actually, but I'm going to get your real estate license. I'll take this off, and I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to take one more off. I'm going to click download my podcast. Now I want to come up here to Coral Gables report. And I basically, what I did was I went out to RPR, created a market activity report for Coral Gables, and then I did my social media post about the Coral Gables report, and I tagged the hashtags, some of the Coral Gable hashtags I want. And I'm telling you what, I got some really good traction on this. But when you go to the Coral Gables link, guess where it takes you? To my website. And here is my 3D book that I created through RPR, and I can add custom pages. And now I'm able to leverage Flipbook, a free RPR report, social media, free link tree, and I'm able to point people back to my website so they can see this specific book. Now, why am I doing that? I want to be a red leather chair. I want to be different. You know, perception is reality. I want somebody who might see this to think, maybe we need to call John Mayfield and do a virtual presentation with him about our property. I'm telling you, I've been doing this since I was 18 years old, 1978. I've always tried to be different. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to go in a different vein, in a different direction. I have a friend in Atlanta, Dagmar Sands, and she says, you know, I knew there were 1,000,003 real estate agents out there, and I wanted to be the purple snowflake. And that's what I want you to be, is a purple snowflake. I want you to be different. So think about how you can be that red leather chair. There are apps. I'm just now getting this Easy Card, which I think is a very cool app, because I see most of my students come to my website. 80% are on a mobile phone. So to me, mobile's what it's all about. But people are searching, and you've got to stand out and be different. And then as you create all this content, repurpose it. There's some great ways you can take video. I mean, I've been doing virtual home buyer webinars for years. This was a VA home buyers webinar I did years ago, several years ago. But here's how I repurposed it. I brought the video into a video editor. I split the track in two. I deleted or dumped the video because I already had it on YouTube and my website. I just wanted the audio. So now I have the audio track. I just export, save it as an audio file, and guess what? I have a podcast. You know, not everybody wants to watch a video. And I'm telling you what, iTunes and Spotify, and I use Podbean, my numbers on my podcast are off the chart. They're amazing. They outperform YouTube every day. But you can then take that audio and run it through drag and dictation, or hire someone on Fiverr. They'll transcribe it, and now you have a blog. And now I have a video, a podcast, a blog, and I can take little snippets of each one of those and do social media, point people to my link tree, have them click on the link to send them right over to my landing page or my podcast or whatever it is, and see how I'm capturing leads. It's really so easy to do. You just have to be consistent with it. But you've got to remember there are 100 billion searches every month on Google. And more importantly, people are wanting help. There's going to be a lot of people asking for help about how do they buy and sell now that COVID-19's gone. And you know what? You can use your YouTube television channel that you broadcast weekly to talk about that. You can bring in loan officers to help talk about how, doing a forbearance may have hurt them or helped them, or what the new requirements are. You can showcase properties virtually, and you're going to be different than other agents. So, I encourage you to have a checklist, because I think that's important. Be consistent. That's so important with social media. And have a game plan or a strategy. Now, it was April 7th, 2007. I absolutely wanted to quit. My wife and I are living the dream. Build a brand new home. We've got these blueberries and blackberries, and April 7th, 2007 hits. And we lost our crop to a late spring freeze. Thought we had insurance, and the underwriter said, if you look over on page 4, paragraph 3, we can't pay you what you've made the last few years because you haven't owned the farm for 5 consecutive years. Here's a check for $4,200. Now, that's not going to go very far on $1 million in debt, especially when, remember, I lost my job at the bank. I'm unemployed. I'd signed a 2-year non-compete. And if you go back to 2007, the market was absolutely horrible anyway. I wanted to quit. But you know what? My dad always told me, don't ever quit, just hang in there. And I knew I had to start over. I had to recreate myself. A lot of what you and I are going to have to do now. You know, I wouldn't be truthful to you if I didn't say I have some fear. Who knows? You know, I try to be upbeat and optimistic, and I'm trying to be positive. And then I get on some of these calls. Like today, I was on 2 different virtual calls, and it's like, holy cow, can we get any more depressing than this? You know, but you know what? We're going to have to recreate ourselves. And if we do that, we can make it happen. So I started doing that in 2007. My wife and I sold our farm, sold about everything we owned, literally. And we moved to a 2-bedroom apartment in LA. That's Lower Arnold, Missouri. It gets a great laugh in St. Louis, but we were in Lower Arnold, Missouri in a 2-bedroom apartment because I'm having to move outside my non-compete zone. And a guy sang Elvis Presley songs at 2 in the morning on the other side of the wall. And they were none of the Elvis Presley songs I liked. But I'm speaking in 2009 in San Diego, California. We have really no money to our name. The market's horrible. The real estate market was terrible then. And I was speaking to try to keep our head above water. So I'm speaking in San Diego. I have a huge group I'm speaking to. There must be 700 people in the room. And I'm talking about technology. And I mean, I'm looking out at them and they're looking at me like, who is this nutcase? And I felt like a comedian who just was dying on stage. And I just kept saying, John, keep your energy up, keep your energy up. You know, don't give in. And I finally finished the presentation. I'm sweating. I'm thinking they'll never hire me again. And then people started getting in line to talk to me. And I thought, this is odd. I thought they hated me. And there was a guy over on this side who comes up and he wants his picture taken with me. And he's from France. And he says, I'm bringing you to France to speak. And I jokingly said, can I bring my wife? And he said, yes, yes, bring your wife. You know, he calls me 2 weeks later and he says, can you come to France on this date? And I said, well, let me look at my calendar. No, I didn't say that. I said, absolutely. And my wife and I leave St. Louis International Airport with $135 in our bank account so I can speak at my first international conference. Now, I'm telling you this story not to brag in any way. I'm telling you this story because, number one, you're always one person away from someone who can change your life. You know, I was in the deepest, darkest tunnel I thought I could be in. And this guy and I became very good friends. And sometimes I tell this story and I can get through it. Sometimes I get a little emotional, but he invited my wife and I to come live in France a few months later. We didn't have anything going on in the US. And, you know, we moved to France and I helped him in his office. On the south of France, you know, we laughed. We said, how could we be the brokest? You know, this is the poorest we've ever been in our life. And God picks us up and plants us right in the middle of the most expensive place in the world, you know, between Monaco and Nice. You know, here we are living on the French Riviera. But I'm sharing you this story for a couple of reasons. Again, you're only one person away from somebody who can change your life. But number two, we really need to be grateful. It taught me a lot about gratitude. You know, I'm reading this book by Marcus Bach that was from 1950. Great book. I got one of his books out the other day because I love his stuff. And I'm reading this book, and this is a view, an actual view from our apartment on the Mediterranean Sea. And I read this quote here: the goals you find on the way to the goal you want may be more precious than the goal you seek. You know, what's happening right now is more precious to us than we could ever imagine. We take care of my little grandson. My daughter's a nurse, and she's out on the front lines. And my little grandson, I don't know if you heard that noise, but for some reason, he always, when I'm doing a webinar, he always starts going across there. And you know what? I was like, used to think, I wish my wife would have him be quiet. And then I read this quote and I'm like, you know what? That's more precious than anything we could ever ask for. So practice gratitude right now. I love this app. It's called the 5-Minute Journal. I used it this morning and I took a picture. Sometimes I go through my library and find a picture and I just find something I'm grateful for. And I do that. But we need to practice gratitude and we need to speak positive words. You know, there's a lot of help that many of us are speaking, but I want you to know there's hope. When I thought there was no hope for me, there was light at the end of the tunnel. And I just want you to know that if you speak positive words and you're grateful and be appreciative of what's going on right now, you'll get through this and you'll be much better. So I want to say thank you. Sorry I got emotional at the end, but you know, I wanted to do these webinars more than anything I want to talk about, I love to talk about technology, but I want to also give back, and I want to encourage others. So you've been a great group. I want to look to see if there are any Q&A. And Tim asked, does this work on iPhones? Most of the stuff I've talked about does, Tim. Can you please send the code you used for LinkedIn when writing a message? Yeah, so I use Text Expander, and the code I use is LK2, but you can use any code you want. You set that up on your end through Text Expander. Can we get a copy? Yes, there is a copy of the recording. You will get that. And yes, you will get all those. So I'm going to mark those that we've answered. And I'll look in the chat box too, because there may have been some. Thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate that. Is it possible? Yes, I do have a copy of the replay. I'll be sending that to your AE. And yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Sandy. And if Sandy's the one, I'll send the information to. The Zillow third tour, can it only be done on the iPhone, or can you use an iPad? You know, I'm sure you could use the iPad. It has to be iOS. So yeah, I don't think that would be a problem. Thank you, Stephen, so much. And the others were, thank you so much for all those questions there, for your kind comments there. I appreciate that. So I don't know if there were any other chats. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Anna. And yeah, and Michael, I am working on a list of those apps, so I'll try to get those to you as well. Well, thank you so much, Virginia. I appreciate that. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Listen, I'm always available. You ever have a question, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you in any way, okay? Thank you again. Have a good day. Bye.